Hi, I'm Jelila. I help extraordinary men and women live easier, more fun lives through simple methods for living in delight. Today, secrets of sacred geometry, light language. Light language is a way of working with sacred geometric shapes and colour for manifestation and healing. I'm going to share with you some of the energies of sacred shapes and colours to give you a feel for how this works. Before we begin, just to explain how sacred shapes are the bridge between your ideas, wishes and feelings, and those things coming into actual reality. Think of your chakras, 7 energy centers along your spine, as being like little factories putting out sacred shapes and colors into your aura all the time in response to your thoughts and feelings. Your aura, the energy around you, contains your vibration built of sacred shapes in light. This energy goes out into the world and attracts everything that happens to you. Thus, when we learn to create positive sacred shape energies around us, we can learn to focus our reality towards creating and attracting more of what we really want in our lives. We can also read the sacred shapes around a person and interpret them, bringing insights which enables us to do aura reading. We can also affect the shapes around ourselves and others by writing light language grids, special combinations of sacred shapes and colour, with the intentions of manifesting or creating something, or for healing and well-being. I'm going to show you some of the properties of sacred shapes and colour, and how to use them now, to give you the idea. By the way, sacred shape geometry light language grids can be written in 7 shapes to define energies for a stationary object, like how you want your house or relationship to be, 49 shapes to support a specific goal, like to get a job or resolve an issue, 144 shapes which are more for a lifetime, like to define your business, happiness, etc. The positive energy is installed in the aura of the recipient and stays there to manifest the goal without wavering. Here are a few light language shapes and colours. The cube contains or holds energies in place. It can also represent a block. In red, it represents the physical world. Could be a block like you can't sell your house. In orange, it could represent your bank, the container or flow of money, or it could represent a relationship block. In pink, it could be the container of love, like a marriage or a love block. To answer a question from one of my students that you might have as well, when interpreting auras, it's the overall placement of shapes and how they relate to other shapes that tells you whether a cube is acting as a container or as a block. Experience tells you with a little practice. Almost the opposite in energy to the cube is the sphere. This shape represents 360 degrees of movement out from a central point. A sphere, of course, rolls. It's not stable like a cube, and it represents activity. A red sphere represents 360 degrees of action in all directions. That's a lot of activity. It feels a bit like a football match. In orange, it represents 360 degrees of flow in all directions. It feels a bit like a gushing spring and is good to help with cash. In pink, it represents 360 degrees of love in all directions. It feels a bit like falling in love. I've just given you a few colours. There are 20 colours in beginner to intermediate light language and 13 sacred geometric shapes, making 260 permutations, all with a specific meaning. Once you master them and learn to activate your intuitive abilities, you can read auras and interpret what's going on. Here's a picture of a 7-shape stationary grid that I wrote to define the energies of my company. It represents delight, as my company promise is living in delight. In this grid, the base chakra is a red pyramid, stability in the real world. The sacral chakra is a yellow octahedron, perfect manifestation of clarity in relationship. The throat chakra is a blue icosahedron, expansion of connection. It's an intuitive skill to be able to read what the shapes mean in combination. I feel it in my heart. In advanced light language, there are 120 sacred geometric shapes and 120 colours, making literally millions of possible permutations of energies. There are so many permutations that sacred geometry light language is a court teaching, which means you catch the information in your aura where it's stored and learn to work with it intuitively, as it's simply too much for one's brain to handle. However, to do aura reading, you only need to learn 13 shapes and 20 colours to read most auras, as these are the shapes and colours that most people have in their auras. Next is a picture of an advanced light language grid. You can commission these from me if you wish. Each number represents a specific sacred shape and the colours are actually shown. Sandra Young's happy marriage. Feel the energy of this grid. And the next grid is a 49 sacred shaped light language grid made to manifest a specific goal, in this case support to get a job. John Smith now has the perfect job, earning $5,000 per month. The intuitive skills needed to work with light language grids or do aura reading can be learned, as can the practical skills of how to work with the sacred shapes and colours step by step. We all have a surprisingly rich innate sense of colour and an intuitive sense. Often it's just about getting back in touch with it so you can learn to benefit from it. I hope you've enjoyed this brief journey through sacred shape geometry light language, and I look forward to hearing from you if you would like to learn or experience aura reading, are interested in courses with sacred geometry and light language, if you'd like a light language grid, or if you have other queries about healing and well-being. Please visit my site www.jelila.com, Living in Delight, or call me on +62 8585 735 4228 or +62 8585 732 6822. My email is jelila@jelila.com. Thank you.